What's up, everyone? Hope everybody had a good spring break. I haven't been uploading YouTube videos for the past couple of weeks due to spring break, man, just getting busy. So what I got for y'all today, man, is just basically talking about lawn care policies. This is something that I didn't have when I first started, but as I got along with my business and started working more and more with different customers, I realized it's good to have policies in place to let your customers know that there's certain expectations in order to get on your schedule. I mean, the policies give your company somewhat of a foundation so that you're not just out there willy-nilly making things up as you go. And at first you might find yourself doing just that. I'm guilty of doing that myself when I first started. I'd be out there just kind of winging it, man, and that's not a good way to go about your business at all. And like I said, when you first start, you probably will, and because you really don't know what kind of policies you need. But you pretty much quickly realize what kind of policies you do need to have into place. Because there are people out there that will try to run you over and try to run your company for you, and that is a pitfall that you don't want to find yourself in, because once you're in that, it's hard to get out of it. It kind of is, in the middle of the season, just kind of switching things up on your customers all of a sudden, like, hey, I know you didn't pay this time, but next time we need to do it like this and like this. So it's good to have that structure in place to give your customers expectations of what you expect from them. Obviously they expect you to come out there and provide good service and do a good job on their yard, that, which is understandable, but we also have expectations of our customers, and that's something that I didn't realize, going into it, having those types of expectations for my customers. I just wanted customers, but like I said, I quickly realized that not every customer is for you. Not every customer is a good customer, so you have to have expectations for your customers, and if they can't meet those expectations, they're not a customer for you. They really are not. So what policies should you make for your customers? That's up to you. Again, it's your business, not anyone else's. So you run your business how you want to run it. The policies I created were made after my first full season. And in my first full season, I took note of certain things that I would need to address moving forward when it came to how I would run and operate my business. So everyone's policies might look a little bit different, and there might be similarities. If you look at my policies and go look at another company's policies, they might be night and day. And you might look at some of my policies and be like, well, why does he do that? And I wouldn't have that, for my company. And like I said, I mean, some things might, that I have in my policies might work for you, and some might not. It just depends on how you run your business, and this is how I run mine. So really all you have to do is just create something simple. You don't have to make anything fancy. I'm pulling up an example of my policies right here. But I like to make things look a little more fancy. Like I mentioned in other videos, my background is graphic design, so I like to spend just a little more time to make things look more sleek, more professional. But you don't necessarily have to. You can just create them in your notes app or on your phone, Microsoft Word, or whatever, a simple text, whatever works best for you. Just make sure that it sounds and looks professional. That's the biggest thing. You don't want it to look like a teenage girl just texted some random things and with a ton of smiley emoticons and stuff like that. So just make it look professional. So for my policies, man, the first one I made was 3 forms of payment for residential customers. I won't dive too much into this one because if you know, you know. But I will say, with invoicing, my customers were being charged $3 per credit card payment for their service. So as soon as I'm done with their service, they go and I email them their invoice. They can pay it online. So say if their service was $65, they would be paying $68. Because they're paying that $3 credit card fee. And I was also being charged about $1 per transaction on my end. And there was a way, I use Yardbook, by the way, and they use a third-party app called Stripe, where you can go in there and adjust, the settings where the customer, eats all of the fees, or you could eat all of the fees. So you would be, being charged, either you or the customer would be charged all of the credit card processing fees, which comes out to, depending on how much, the service was that day. If the service is more expensive, say like it was a $500 pine straw job or something, and they paid, via online invoice, it might be a $10 service fee. So you're going to you could eat all of that, or the customer could eat all of that, or you could split it where you're paying $5 and they're paying $5, whatever. But over the course of the year, it may not sound like a big deal, but for customers that have repeat services every week or bi-weekly, and for every transaction that I invoice, it adds up quickly. It was taking money out of their pockets and out of mine. So again, make policies that suit how you want to run your business. You may like invoicing, and I did as well, for the simple fact of how convenient it was. I loved having that. It was real easy in Yardbook to just send that invoice, bam. I could tell when they opened the email to look at the invoice. So if they say I haven't seen the invoice yet, like, I could tell they're lying, because I'm like, I can see that you opened it and you looked at it. And as soon as they paid the invoice, it would automatically update as paid, and I didn't have to worry about it. And if it goes unpaid for a period of time, it just sits there unpaid, and you can see it, in Yardbook. So I do like that convenience aspect of it. But financially, it made more sense to do away with this for me and my business. Once I start offering pressure washing services, I will start bringing back invoicing, since those are just like one-time services and not as big of a deal. But there will be other ways. I will offer more payment methods for those pressure washing services, later down the road. Hopefully next year I'll start doing that. But the next policy I have is payments must be made the day of the service. I made this because I had quite a few customers paying late. I still do have customers that pay late, but it's always the repeat offenders. But having that late payment fee and 5-day grace period lets them know that I expect to be paid promptly, and if I'm not, there will be a late fee, and I may have to kick them off my schedule. It's that simple. I've had to kick people off my schedule because of payment issues. I give all my customers the utmost respect by sending them service reminders as well, because just letting them know, and also letting them know when their service is completed. So if they don't pay promptly, or don't let you know that they may be a couple of days late on payment, to me this shows a lack of respect on their end towards me. I mean, it's really that simple, because there's really nothing else where somebody comes to your house, provides a service, and you just don't pay them, or you pay them 5 days later. It's just, if somebody comes to your house and fixes your AC, you pay them right then and there. A plumber, if they come and fix your plumbing, if they unclog the shitter, you're going to pay them right then and there, right after they unclog the toilet. So it's no different with lawn care. We're no different. We're out here making a living. We're working our ass off, and if you can't pay on time, and it becomes an issue. It might be something where you might have to just part ways with that customer. So one of my other policies is if a customer skips 2 times during the growing season that isn't related to drought or something weather related, I will kick them off the schedule. I've not had to kick anyone off the schedule for this, thankfully, but that policy is there to make sure my schedule doesn't fall apart during the week, each week. That's probably, one of my biggest pet peeves is, dealing with that type of stuff. I will be updating this going into next season by letting bi-weekly customers know that there will be no skips for bi-weekly service at all. So even if there's drought or something weather related, I will make the call. I will go out there and physically look at that property. If it needs to be worked on, we'll continue with service. But if I look at the property and there's nothing that needs to be done, if it hasn't rained in like 2 weeks, I'm not going to go out there and just get on their yard and damage the grass. I will make that call. So that's something that I'm going to be implementing next year. If your bi-weekly customers try to skip a lot, it's something that you have to nip in the butt pretty quickly, because I have found personally that bi-weekly customers that do that, it becomes a thing, and you don't want to deal with that thing constantly. It gets tiring and very old quickly, so nip it in the butt quick. So one of my next policies is to make sure the yard is free of toys, dog runners, trash, debris, all that type of stuff. This is also one of my other pet peeves. I send service reminders for these types of things. So if a customer has stuff in their yard repeatedly, it's a sign of disrespect in my eyes. If they keep leaving stuff in the yard, it's something that I'll address with the customer directly. Don't be afraid to confront customers. Just be professional about it. You don't want to have to go out there or send a message or talk to them on the phone or whatever and confront them in a way that makes it seem very hostile. Just be professional about it. Don't make it into a big deal, even though it is kind of a big deal. Just be professional. You may have to add a yard debris fee like some lawn care companies do, but it's not really my thing to nickel and dime people for every little thing. So I don't want to add that to my policies. I just expect the courtesy of them picking up their things before their service. I send the service reminder the evening before their service, so they know. And every single service is on the same day. So if I'm out there on Tuesdays, and your bi-weekly is going to be every other Tuesday. So like I said, it's a respect thing in my eyes. One of my next policies is the first month of payment due for bi-weekly service. I expect the first month of payment for those bi-weekly customers, for new bi-weekly customers. This is to ensure I get payment and I don't get burned by them not paying. So, if I do their yard and say, okay, cool, we're done. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And, they're like, okay, thanks. And, some days go by and I haven't received payment yet. And then their next service 2 weeks later comes along and I say, hey, I've not received payment. for the first service, like, hey, what's up? So for bi-weekly customers, they got to pay up front, for those first 2 services. And if they have an issue with that, if they feel some kind of way, like I'm giving this guy, however much money, I'm there that first time, and I'm not going to go anywhere until the yard's done that first time. So this is to make sure I don't get burned, because it has happened. I have gotten burned by doing this, and a couple of different times. Fool me once, shame on me, but fool me twice, shame on you type thing. Just be smart about it. Don't go out there just thinking everybody's going to do what they need to do by paying you, because there's people out there that will try to burn you. The last one is the last policy is irrigation systems. This was something I added this past year because I had a few customers turning their sprinklers on while I was at their property. It was on a set schedule. So I'd be out there cutting, and then all of a sudden the sprinklers would just cut on, man. And they're at work, and I can't turn them off. They're the panels in their garage or whatever. I can't go in there and turn it off. I'm just out there cutting, and their sprinklers, which it felt good during the summer. I'm not gonna lie, but it creates a mess in the yard because you got these heavy machines on these wet grounds, and so wet ground, dirt, and heavy machinery don't mix. You're going to tear up a lot of stuff, and you don't want that, because then you'll have to go out there and go fix it. And so just might be something that you want to add to your policies, because it is something that you don't think would be a problem. But like I said, after doing this a few years, I was like, I need to add this to my policies now, because this is becoming a thing. So it's one of those things, man, when you're working and dealing with customers, when you see that certain issues start becoming a thing, you want to address those things and put them in your policies. So moving forward, man, with your business in the future, the customer knows what expectations you have of them. So what I do is, when I get a new customer, I will send them, if they agree to the price, if they agree to the quote, the estimate that I give them, I'll say, okay, great, here are my policies, and I will text them. I will send it to them in a text, a screenshot of, or a JPEG attachment of my policies, of basically what you see on the screen, or what you have been seeing on the screen. And I ask them to read it over, and please let me know if they have any questions. And if they're bi-weekly customers, I just let them know, say, hey, if your service is on a Tuesday, I expect that first month of payment Tuesday morning. So that's just part of my policy. So so that's all I got for y'all, man. It's something that you hate to create policies, because growing up, man, I was a rule breaker. I hated rules. If there was a rule, I was going to break it, and I would break the rules right in front of your face, man. I did not care. But so now, it's like, as I'm older, I realize why there are rules, because you got to keep people in line sometimes, because they get they're rule breakers, man. They like to break the rules, and they'll break the rules in front of your face. So don't be afraid to add these policies, or your policies. Just add some policies to your business to protect you. And I think any lawn care company that's been around a while will have policies, and will say, yes, this is something that you must have, because the old saying goes, if you give someone an inch, they're going to take a mile. So if you let somebody kind of get away with something one time, they're going to try it again, and they're going to try to keep getting away with more and more and more. And next thing you know, you have problems on your hands, and you don't want problems, because you just want to go out there and cut grass, have things run smoothly, because we as lawn care companies, we have to deal with problems with equipment repairs and maintenance and whatever else goes wrong during the day. So dealing with customers that don't want to pay or whatever other issue is not a problem that you want. And so they can't follow the policies, man. You gave them the structure to follow and gave them the foundation, and if they can't, you just you kick them off the schedule, move on. Like I said, not every customer is for you. So that's all I got for y'all today. I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm just gonna keep working here in this video. This is probably one of my first customers. It's kind of funny, man, because he actually works for the company that I used to work for. For my previous job that I had, my corporate 9-to-5. He works for the same company, just a different location. I work in the Savannah location. He works in the Atlanta location at Atlanta Airport. So it's just kind of funny. And yeah, he was one of my first customers. So I guess in my next video, I'll probably talk about why I left my 9-to-5, and because it was really a cush industry to be in, really easy jobs that I had. But I guess I can go in depth of why I left my 9-to-5, my background and all that type of stuff, if anybody's interested. So anyways, that's all I got for y'all. I'll see y'all next time. See you.